everyone. So the first thing I'm doing is priming the eye area, and to do that I'm using my trusty Urban Decay primer potion. I add a few swipes across the eye area, and then I like to use a brush just to blend this into the skin. And using a brush is good because if you've applied too much primer, it'll just soak up any excess product. So I have the most exciting eyeshadow palette here today. It's the Colourpop X Baby Yoda, the child eyeshadow palette, and I love Baby Yoda so much. I actually made a cake of him last year, and considering that I burnt toast, it was a big achievement. But back to this glorious palette. The first shade I'm taking is called Baby Face, and I'm using the brush that came with the Urban Decay Naked Honey eyeshadow palette to apply this into the crease. So Baby Face is the most gorgeous light minty green eyeshadow, and it's got a matte finish to it. I'm just using circular motions to buff this colour into the crease, and initially I'm focusing it in the crease, and then I'll gradually just start to pull the shadow out at an angle towards the tail of my brow just to elongate the eyes. And usually I like to go in with a couple of layers of the shadow, but today I decided to go in with 3 just to make sure that the shadow was really nice and vibrant. And if you're having trouble creating that elongated shape to the eye, you know when you're winging it out and maybe it's just not as neat and tidy as you'd like, a good way around that is to use some face powder on a fluffy brush and just trace along the side of it, and it will clean up the edge, giving you a nice line, but it'll also blur the edge of the shadow. So now I'm flipping my brush around, and I'm using the small flat side to sweep the eyeshadow down along the lower lash line. Next then, I'm taking the shade Little Frog, which is a light sort of yellowy green, and it's got a bit of a sparkle to it. The sparkles aren't really apparent, which is why I decided to use this in the crease. I tend not to really apply shimmers in the crease. I like to keep it mostly matte. But yes, so I've just switched to another little fluffy blending brush, and I'm adding this into the crease area and down slightly on the outer third to kind of give a little lime to the look. So I've added that shadow again in a couple of layers, and now I'm switching back to the brush that I used previously to apply the shade Baby Face, and I'm running this into the crease just to make sure those shadows fade nicely into one another. Then I'm taking a small pencil brush, this one is from Sigma, and I'm wriggling that Little Frog shade down along the lower lash line, making my way from outer to inner corner. To start deepening up the look now, I'm taking this matte shadow called Float Your Crib. It's a lovely deep olive green shade, and it blends very well with the previous shadows. And it blends very well like the previous shadows as well. So this is my first time trying Colourpop shadows. They aren't expensive at all for the quality that you're getting, and I'm really impressed so far anyway, and I look forward to picking up some more products. But I'm mainly just adding this shadow on the outer portion of the eye, keeping it to the outer third of the lid, outer third of the crease. I just want to deepen up that outer area of the eye, and again, same as below, I'm now adding it down along the lower lash line with a pencil brush, and keeping the inside of the eye nice and bright and the outer portion nice and dark. It's going to help elongate the eyes and make them look bigger. So now I'm taking the L'Oreal Infallible Concealer. It's a full coverage concealer, and I've picked up some of this on a flat C-shaped synthetic brush, and I'm using the shape of the brush just to help me carve out and cut out the inner half of the lid. So I really want a nice bright base to apply the shimmery shadows, just so that they really pop. So now I'm taking the shade Right Hand Mando, which is a light golden green shade, and I'm using a flat C-shaped brush to pack this shadow over the top of the concealer. So I used the shadow dry, and then I used another layer of the shadow wet, whereby I just sprayed my brush with some setting spray. And then once I'm happy with the coverage and the intensity of the shadow, I'm then taking my fluffy brush and I'm using the excess product on it to buff towards that shimmer shade, just so that we don't have a harsh divide between the matte and shimmer formulas. You all know now that I just cannot resist adding some black. I just don't think a look is finished without the addition of a black in some way, shape or form. So I'm just using a matte black eyeshadow. It's just from Pennies. It's a singular shadow and it was €1. Cheap as chips and works fine. So I'm using this on a pencil brush, and I'm lightly working it from the lash line on the outer corner of the eye. I'm lightly winging it out and then flicking it up towards the crease. So I noticed a little bit of transfer of the shimmer up into the crease, so I'm using a pencil brush now with no product on it, and I'm buffing over the area just to erase that. If I had it cut up higher into the crease, I wouldn't have had that transfer. It's just the way my eye folds, but no hassle, it's easily fixed. And when the shimmer has set, it won't budge. It was still wet from the setting spray, and that's why it transferred as well. So now I'm taking the black down along the lower lash line and into the upper lashes as well, just to help conceal the band of the lashes that I'm about to apply. The lashes then that I'm using are these ones here from Colourpop 2. And then to finish off the look, I'm taking Precious Cargo, which is a white shadow with a green kind of gold shift to it. It's a really gorgeous shade, and it's just going to highlight the tear duct of my eye. Then I'm using the Wet n Wild Mega Length Mascara to blend my own lashes in with the false ones, and I also applied a brown to the lash line. No, I didn't. I applied it to the waterline, sorry. But then that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I'll catch you all really soon.